CPAC, greatest thing in the world.
Oh,
Got rid of it
yeah,
like
they
that.
have been.
For me,
By day 4, I'm
You have all
itching, I'm going, oh no, don't do this to me. That's the beginning is the itch and then the swell.
But you didn't have any reaction to it,
None,
good.
no, I mean, barely even a sore arm,
right?
so.
My wife just had last weekend, last Friday. And she's got a sore arm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like somebody punched you in the
Yeah.
arm. isn't
Yeah,
it?
just a little bit of a.
Not quite the
sore.
tetanus shot, ow.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It still hurt a little bit.
I had feelers out everywhere. I had a friend of mine, a colleague, a board member in El Dorado County who was saying, if I can get you in, can you be here tomorrow? I'm like, yes, of course I could be here. And I'm in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I guess we should have asked for confirmation whether or not you were going to be here. So we set up Judy's and Rose's position.
I see roses. Yeah.
And just so you know, we are live on YouTube right now
Okay.
on our channel.
Why are we live on YouTube?
Because we, well, it's through our website.
Hmm.
So if people want to watch it live streaming, they don't have to log into the Zoom. They could just watch it. They don't get to participate.
Oh, but they can just, okay.
It's part of transparency and accessibility.
I think that's
You're
awesome.
wonderful board that.
Let's talk about those idiots. No.
As I mentioned.
I know, it's funny.
What school district was that?
Somewhere north of here, northeast of here.
Rose, can you hear us okay?
She's muted.
Oh.
She's muted.
You muted, Rose. There you go.
Hey,
Okay.
there you go. Hi, Rose.
Hi, Rose.
Hi, Rose.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good. So is most everyone in the room?
We got 4 out of 7.
Oh,
I'm hidden. I'm around the corner
Oh,
here.
where's Cindy?
Cindy is not able to make the meeting
Oh,
today.
Is that-
She'll try, but
Yeah.
she's
Yeah, she's helped out over mom to an appointment.
Okay. And there's Judy's.
That's acceptable. Moms are allowed, right?
Yep.
yeah,
Always want to take care of mom.
gotta take care of mom.
That's why I drove to LA this
And are
weekend.
they coming up
I
on?
had to drive to LA this weekend. Yeah.
Oh.
Take care of mom. She had her second shot. We just wanted me to make sure she's okay.
Oh, she did.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh, she's
okay.
fine.
Okay.
She's back at school today.
Okay.
And they should be coming up Brady Bunch style.
Does she teach?
She is the person at All Girls Catholic High School. She's the registrar. She runs the office.
Okay.
Been there 30 years.
And they weren't some of the first to get vaccine or?
No, because the parochial schools didn't qualify in LA County for educators for some reason. They'd argue with it and finally got the archdiocese got involved and finally said, no. Our teachers are teachers.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay. It's
We're-
4:01 if you want to.
all right.
And I'm going to go ahead and start recording.
All right, welcome everyone to the regular school board meeting on 4/12/2021 at 4 p.m. Read your mission statement. And then it's the law.
Oh, we usually don't. Oh, no, that's just there for the.
Oh, okay.
You can go right to the pledge.
Okay. So everyone, got Judy and Rose. Okay, thank you. Pledge of allegiance. Please join us in the pledge. Ready to begin?
I
pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, very well done. Roll call, please.
Okay, Nick,
Here.
Juliana,
Here.
Casey,
Yes, ma'am.
Judy Myers,
Here.
Judy Wilson,
here.
Rose Wingo,
Here.
and Cindy Simonson is not able to attend today.
Thank you. Action item number 3, adoption of the agenda. If the county superintendent board determined they wish to delete or move an item on the agenda, this would be the appropriate time. Step overview, please.
There is just one small tiny thing under item 10 versus action items. The description of what was prior, which is board committees, was accidentally printed under action items, which says there were no committee meetings this month. That should have been under 9. I just wanted to call your
Okay.
attention to that.
Hmm.
So just it's a little of why that was.
Cool, thank you, ma'am. Any board comments? public comments? Any public comments on the agenda? There being none, close public comment. Board motion second, please.
I so move.
We have a motion?
That was
I'll move the adoption of the agenda.
Okay.
I don't,
It was Nick and Judy Ann.
Nick and Juliana.
Judy
Ann.
Myers.
Judy.
Judy Ann.
Roll call, please.
Okay, Nick,
Yay.
Juliana,
Yes.
Casey,
Yes, ma'am.
Rose,
Yes.
Judy Myers,
Yes.
and Judy Wilson.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Introduction of guests. It looks like we have several guests here today. Very excited to have the group be here. Anyone in particular calling out? Kathy, Ms. Parker?
Anybody want to introduce themselves? They do not
Yeah.
have to.
School fight songs, anybody? No? All right. Public comment. The public may address the board on any matter pertaining to the county superintendent of schools office that is not on the agenda. Please use the podium in the front of the room or your mic. The board reserves the right to limit the time of the individual presentations and the cumulative time of all presentations. These proceedings are being recorded. The recording will be kept for 6 months. Are there any other public comments at this time?
And there were none emailed prior to the meeting.
All right, well, thank you. Number 6, consent agenda. All matters listed in consent agenda are considered to be routine and all will be enacted by one motion with a vote. There will be no separate discussions on these items unless a member of the board or staff requests an item to remove for separate action. Any items removed will be considered after the action is taken on the remainder of the consent agenda. Staff overview, please.
You have 2 items to consider. One is the approval of board meeting minutes from March 8th. And the other one is our Williams quarterly report, which are no complaints were filed with any school in the district.
Excellent. Any public comment? There being none, close public comment. Board motion and second, please.
I move that this is Juliana Periani, and I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Judy Myers, I'll second that.
Wait, first and second, may I have a roll call, please?
Nick,
Yes.
Juliana,
Yes.
Casey,
Yes, ma'am.
Rose,
Yes.
Judy Myers,
Yes.
and Judy Wilson.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, number 7, fun part, recognitions and presentations. TLC graduate, Miss Middleton.
And you might remember her, Ayana, from our last meeting, I think it was, where she was awarded the Every Student Succeeds Award. And now she's come back because she has completed all of her units and her credits for graduation. And I think she just tuned in there. She is with all the Emma decorations. Awesome, wonderful. I'm the disembodied voice over here in the corner, so.
And she's turning 18.
Yeah.
Yes, and she's turning 18.
Happy birthday.
Yay. So I know that everybody is on this call. A lot of people are on this call because they have wonderful things that they want to say about you so that you can hear them as well. So Colleen, I'm going to hand it over to you at this point.
So Ayana's been with us for a little while. She's been actually involved with our programs for quite some time. And so we're very, very proud that she has used the resources in our programs to finish school and graduate. So we're super proud of her. She's worked very hard and really has been a team player in her education. So we have Mike Arndt, Jessica Carter, Jen Redford are here to say a few words for you.
Okay.
So,
Hey, Ayana, it's Mike. Just wanted to say congratulations and so proud of you. You have a very, very bright future. And I know that you're going to contribute really, really great things to this community. And one of the things I always noticed about you is you always gave more than you took. You always gave more than you took. You know, you're always a pleasure to have in class and looking what you could do to benefit yourself and benefit this classroom and your peers. And so it's just, it was sad to see you go, but we're so proud of you. And so Stephen, your teacher, unfortunately had a prior conflict, but he actually wrote up something that Jessica has that she is going to read on his behalf. Jessica?
Hi, Anna. Yes, I'm speaking for Steve, so I'm going to read you what he wrote. he said, I would first like to apologize to Ayana for not being able to attend your diploma presentation today. This is a big day for you and one I hope you will never forget. High school graduation marks the beginning of a new journey in your life. As you embark on this journey, you will now bring with you a little more insurance. Your journey will be a successful one. That insurance comes in the form of your high school diploma. You have worked hard to achieve this and make it to your graduation day. Though our paths did not cross until the current school year, I know you have overcame many obstacles and hurdles to be where you are today. Be proud of how far you've come. You deserve this moment. I feel rewarded for the time I had Ayana in my classroom. I was privileged to witness the shy girl in the back of the classroom blossom into the social butterfly she actually is once you get to know her. Her last day of school was bittersweet for the TLC High School. Though we are also proud of your accomplishments, you will truly be missed by myself, the TLC staff, and the TLC students. I wish you the best of luck on your journey ahead. I know you will be successful. Keep working hard and keep reading books. I still need to finish the last book you told me to read. I'm working on it. Also, I'll continue to check your stocks. If you win, you will still earn a prize. Hold your head up high today, Ayana. Be proud of your accomplishments and continue to work toward your dreams. Congratulations, Ayana. And I second what Steve says. I'm so proud of you and I can't wait to see what your future holds. Yay, you did it. Yeah. We love you.
Ayana, I just wanted to chime in as well and just tell you I'm super proud of you. Everything that Steve had said, he said it with perfectly. I am so proud of the growth you have shown over this last year and the strength that you have, and I know you're going to do great things in the future. So congratulations.
So Ayana, I've come off of my hidden self. I just wanted to show you, though, that we will be giving you this diploma.
Whoa.
And it's a beautiful diploma. And it says, this certifies that Ayana Hope Middleton has fulfilled the requirements for graduation as prescribed by the Board of Trustees, and in testimony thereof is awarded this diploma given under our hands and seal at Sonora, California, this 12th day of April 2021. And it's signed by everybody that's involved in the program. In addition, we will be giving you your tassel. And there's your tassel so you can. And I know we don't have an official ceremony, but you should still nonetheless be very proud of your accomplishment. And we'll make sure that when we award this to you, that we'll make that occasion very special. And so if you were here, we would have you go like this and then go like that. And then you would be graduating. So, but this is covered in plastic, so it didn't touch my hair. So don't worry about that. Okay. So does Mom want to say something?
Mom's crying. Mom's crying.
Holly's crying. It's okay, Holly, you cry. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah. It was an amazing school year for me, and it honestly sucks having to go, but it was the greatest school year ever, and I'm happy I got to meet everyone that I got to meet.
Does our board want to say anything?
Sure. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It sounds like you're going to be missed just as much as you're going to miss the school, but you are why we are here. And so congratulations. I'm looking forward to the great things that you're going to do next. And I hope you keep in touch and let us know how you're doing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're proud of you, for you and your family and all the supporters. So thank you very much.
Congratulations to you and congratulations to Mom too. I know that it takes a family to get through these things. And my very, very best to you and your future endeavors, and happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So, and don't forget to check in with us about your next steps. I know you've got great things going on for your future. You've got a whole team of people behind you to make sure that that happens. And we know where your mom is, so we can always find her.
Yeah.
So watch out.
Rose and Judy, do you want to say anything? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Rose and Judy.
Forgive me. Rose, Judy, anything? Comment? No? Okay.
They're unmuting.
I mean,
Yeah, she signs up for classes on Wednesday at the college. So
awesome.
Yay, great.
Congrats.
You know what you want to major in yet?
Not yet. Something in criminology, maybe.
Oh, awesome. It's just sometimes it's nice to do a little bit of exploring.
Yeah.
Good, good.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to that. Great, Dana. I'll go next step. Number 8, staff presentations. Update for the Gold Ridge Educational Center. Sir. Or Kathy, you want to start? But it's fine.
It's Michael Art.
Michael's all you, sir.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Superintendent Parker, Mike Arndt, program coordinator for the Gold Ridge Educational Center. We had a busy month. So week 25 average of 12 students with 100% attendance. Week 26 average 13.2 students with 100% attendance. Week 27 average 11.6 students, 100% attendance. And then week 28 average 12 students with 100% attendance. So month 7 average of 12.21 students. I think we were as high as 17 students at one point during the month. So it was very busy, and I'm proud to say that that we had 3 graduates, three people obtain their high school diplomas this past month at Gold Ridge. So it was a success.
Any questions for me?
Hey, thanks again for putting up that graduation ceremony last Tuesday. That was really awesome.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. Yeah,
everything go through that.
Yeah, that was
Great
awesome.
experience.
And I'm looking forward to some more of those. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those now.
With the question, Kathy and or Michael, with the jails, us picking up things from the regular jail, will that be who's going to be running that?
The jail for the adult ed
Yeah,
program?
adult ed.
We actually, I was going to do that during the superintendent report.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we just did
Okay.
a tour of it and we're starting up. then.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Thank you, sir, for everything.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you. Moving number 9, there are no committee meetings this month. Number 10, action items. Resolution number 2021-03, employee appreciation. Board consider a resolution to recognize certificated and classified employees for their important contributions to education in Tuolumne County. Staff overview, please.
This is an annual resolution and we celebrate our certificated and classified employees. We celebrate them every day. And but this is an official recognition that you certify every year. It's a resolution. And we usually recognize them in May. We do the employees who make a difference recognition along with the teachers of excellence during that time. And then we provide a small gift card for each of our employees just to give another additional recognition to them. But the resolution is the start of that process.
Okay, thank you. Board comment.
I always love to have resolutions like this come in front of us.
Exactly. Any public comments? There being any closed public comment, board motion and a second, please.
I so move. Let's turn off.
Nick's approved.
I'll
I'll-
second, oh, go ahead.
I'll second it.
Casey.
Roll call, please.
Okay, so that was Nick on the first and Casey on the second.
Yes, ma'am.
We all wanted to do it because we know we love it, but.
Very important.
Yes,
Okay, roll call. Nick,
Yes.
Juliana,
yes.
Casey,
Yes, ma'am.
Rose,
Oh, she muted.
yes. Okay, Judy Myers
Yes.
and Judy Wilson.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. For all the staff, everyone, we cannot do this job without you. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Seriously, it means a lot.
especially during the wonky year.
Yeah, crazy year. The new crazy. Moving on to discussion items. Number 1, Superintendent Parker and TCSOS staff will give a COVID-19 update for the TCSOS related programs and educational institutions.
So after spring break, and you can hear this a much more in-depth summary of what's going on in Tuolumne County. If you go back to, I think 2 weekends ago, I was on Meadowbrook Views they wanted another update, so I review all of the, putting sports in depth through that interview. But after spring break, all of our school districts and all of our own programs came back, and I don't believe that there's anybody on any cohorting schedules anymore. So students are back every day, except for I think Sonora High still has their Wednesday. Do they still have their Wednesday?
Mhm.
Yeah, their Wednesday, because they are still providing distance learning. And so the staff that is providing in-person support is also providing distance learning, which means in a lot of cases, teachers are doing two jobs. So that is why there are still school districts that have shortened days, slightly shortened days, or they might have a Wednesday as a distance learning only day, because it is quite intensive. The other big thing will be Somerville High School. If they approve at their board meeting an increase in the number of hours per day, our students there who are already attending a longer day than traditional Somerville High School students will match that and go as late as 2:05, which again is a slightly shortened day, but it allows them to stay on to have lunch. Our students already get lunch, but also extend a few of their block classes. The ELO and the IPI grants, so that is part of the package deal that was passed by the state level. The ELO stands for Extended Learning Opportunities. I think they stole our name, Brian Thomas. And then the IPI is in-person instruction. There were two separate grants that made up that giant funding source. And so quite a few $1 million is coming to Tuolumne County, specifically for our school districts to do either extended learning. So you'll see a lot of offerings for summer school, either at the end of the school year or as ramp-up programs for the beginning of the new school year. And for the in-person instruction, really school districts have been using their reserve funds or their general funds in order to provide all the extra one-time unexpected costs to operate schools during a pandemic. This will help make them whole in that way and also continue to support them, because we don't anticipate some of the measures that we have to take to have schools open to go away at the beginning of next year. Big one will be masks, social distancing. Some of the requirements for keeping kids apart from each other requires more staffing on playgrounds, for example, extra cleaning in cafeterias. That grant on how we're going to use the extended learning opportunities, how we're going to use that to help address some of the learning loss. That plan will be due June 1st, and you will see that plan at the May meeting, and we are receiving parent feedback through a variety of meetings. That's COVID-19 in a nutshell. And football season's over. It started and it ended. It started and it ended. I know that's been the big topic, but 3 games and we're done.
Kathy, I have just a question with the COVID-19 update. I've been getting some from other boards in the state asking when we might be having the public show up at meetings, if there's any plan for that, or.
So there are 2 components. There's CDPH guidelines, which have distancing requirements. And then there is Cal OSHA. And Cal OSHA has requirements, and they have not eliminated their 6 feet distancing between staff members. And so for us to open up facilities, our JPA has recommended that, first of all, if you open your facility, you're opening it to all groups because we are under the Civic Center Act. So you can't just open it up to some outside agencies, you have to open it up to all. And that becomes very difficult. You could get a discrimination suit very easily if you deny it to, let's say you let the Little League come in, but you don't let that group that typically uses it come in. The other part is the distancing that's required, and that's very difficult to do. As you know, Troy was up here earlier. He had a tape measure. I know my 6 foot. And so as you can see, we are at 6 feet between all of us. If we were all in here, it doesn't leave a lot of space for the public.
Okay.
So, and as long as you have the executive order in place, we can continue to operate meetings in this fashion. What happens after June 15th? That seems to be the magic date. We will see.
Okay.
But don't, from my understanding, what Dr. Surjenko also says is that don't expect the 6 feet distancing to go away anytime soon.
Okay.
That's really the threshold.
Thank you. I know that a lot of the boards have been discussing that, so I just wanted to be able
So
to
some of
contribute
them-
it, so.
Yeah, some of them have facilities where they could
Oh, because
allow
they're
it,
bigger,
because they have gyms and,
That's true.
and they can do that.
big meeting rooms.
They can square off
Okay.
areas and have them meet there, and limited. So example is Fresno Unified, they're traveling around to school districts to have meetings, but they have to limit the number of people in their spaces. And for some reason, which I would have to talk to Troy and Brian, they said that they don't have the streaming capability to stream the meetings anymore. So once it's full, you can't even come in and see it streamed, which I thought was really, especially for Fresno Unified, I thought that was very interesting. They would
Yeah.
restrict access like that. So I think actually with us doing streaming, you have more attendance, and it does open up accessibility for people.
I think so. Well, thank you.
Sure.
It'll be the new normal. Anything else on COVID? All the fun people on the screen, any questions? They all looked up. Squirrel.
They're all they're the fun ones, huh?
All right, number 2, board retreat discussion, setting time, preliminary list of topics and logistics.
So Tony, we do have that calendar, right? The calendar of our board meeting date.
Yes.
And it is, I mean, you do have a date selected in July as part of your regular board meeting date. So if you wanted to change the July meeting date, we could bring it back as an item, an action item at next meeting to change your regularly scheduled board meeting in July.
So July 12th, 5th
Yes,
or 12th?
It's the 12th, right, Tony? Yeah.
Yeah, who's gonna be here on the 5th?
And so typically what has happened is we have a charter school meeting for the committee on that date. And then the retreat. We of course didn't have anything last year. We had a quick board meeting, but we didn't have a retreat because you were wanting to do it in person and we never did get back to in person. And so this is your first discussion on what kind of topics and logistics I put down, confirm the date. I would assume you would want in-person or a hybrid option because we still, we don't know what'll happen, so we can always do a hybrid like what we're doing now. Scott Holbrook is willing to come again and talk about charters, which is an important topic because it has changed quite a bit. But I know a lot of you attended the CSBA and CCBE trainings, so I wasn't sure if you still wanted to pursue that. We usually talk about the board trainings and the board professional development that you like to offer throughout the year, including like the Brown Act trainings. And then we had a really nice slate of things to offer. And remember we were going to do the new
The new board member workshop?
not new board member, but you were going to have a brainstorm, best ideas or best practices.
Right.
We couldn't do that. We usually take a look at your goal setting, and your mission statement probably needs to be revisited at this point. It's been a few years. And scholarship, for example, was another item to look at.
Scholarship form. I would think with mission, vision, and maybe looking at coming up with a value statement.
What else would you guys like to talk? Rose or Miss Judy W? Anything you'd like to see in the retreat? Or any topics you like to see covered or talked about?
Well, I'm kind of new at this, but I was on the scholarship committee meeting today, and I think Juliana's suggestion is good that we would revise that scoring form for the scholarships somehow. So.
Okay. Rose, anything you want to ask or add or?
Can we use this meeting to talk about anything?
Yeah.
Or do we have a specific agenda?
We have to post a specific agenda with the items on there.
Okay. So if there's anything that I would like to talk about, I have to have it agendized.
You have an open section, you can discuss, during discussion moments, no action can be taken, we can have discussion moments also. An open
Okay.
discussion, yes.
You have to be careful about what you do on that agenda. You can't, for example, and actually I checked on this because we did have a community member, the way we had posted our original agenda for our retreat, not last year, but the year prior, it was kind of vague. And they said it needs to be more specific. And I checked with an attorney, and our attorney said, yeah, it does need to be a little more specific because it had and other items. And so it's when you say and the other items, it's like, well, what else are you going to discuss? What are the other items? What else are you talking about? And so you do have to at least give a topic or an item.
So would you be able to just give a topic, Rose, of something you wanted to talk about for discussion?
Oh. Well, yes, there is.
Well, you can
I
email.
would like to, can I tell you now?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want me to?
There's a discussion item. Talk
Okay,
away.
I would just like to talk about some of the legislation that's being passed and the effect it'll have on our students.
Okay.
Great topic.
Mhm.
Great conversation.
I agree with you. There's lots of interesting legislation being
Is there a
proposed and passed right now.
CSBA kind of person who's a legislation affairs? May want to give an overview or anything?
Yeah,
I know you know pretty much all of it. So,
But they
Yeah.
have SSDA. I sit on ledge committee for SSDA. I can bring SSDA in.
yeah, that might be interesting too. That might be interesting to have like a little different perspective.
Yeah.
I know that
because
Erica, if for some reason you can't, maybe Erica Kaufman could jump in.
Yeah. They all talk,
Okay.
they're all on the same call. I mean,
Right.
they're all on our call. It's funny.
My guess,
I know.
my guess is it would be much more relevant to have somebody from SSDA. But
okay. Great idea.
This is the first pass, so you
Yeah.
have a few months, so it's just to start the conversation.
Another thing was Dave Round, we were talking about the boundary conversations, the voter, why do we have to get signatures? No one else has to get signature thing.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite
Yeah.
subject.
It is your favorite. It is.
And boundaries. Our boundaries should be the school boundaries. I'm sorry.
Will that be a discussion, that particular discussion about districting and boundaries be a discussion when the population or when the census data?
Yes.
The
so
census will change all that. Yeah.
Yeah, so the redistricting is based on census
Right.
data, which your districts are determined by your population centers. So
Okay.
that's why some of your districts are split in half.
Right.
Where one side of the road is
Right.
Sonora L, one side is Jamestown. 'cause
Trying to
it has
get
do
that
with
percentage of people. I know that the last time we did it, what area is Cindy? Whatever,
She's over.
Solstice.
I know, but what trustee area is she?
Is it 3?
No, I'm 3.
Okay.
I'm 5, 1 snore.
7.
She might be 2.
Let's go with 2.
Yeah, okay, well,
Yeah,
whatever, when we
That's fine.
did hers last year, when we looked at it, I remember because that was Sharon Neely was, that was her trust area.
Yeah.
She didn't even have a school.
No, yeah, you're right. Yep.
She did not even have a school, so we actually, because the population of that area there's no school in Crystal Falls.
Right, there's no.
Area, they go between the two, so, she said, well, can we at least bring the boundary there? So that at Standard Road, so that at least so Curtis Creek falls in my trustee area, because it was in Groveland Big Oak Flats trustee area.
So what happens
yeah.
usually at the census is we work with an agency that will give you several options for your redistricting of your trustee areas if there are changes. The other school that has a trustee area is Sonora. And of course, Columbia College has trustee areas as well. So those are the ones that will be affected by district boundary changes and will be affected by a redistricting or a change in any boundaries for our trustee areas. There's, if you do kind of the backwards planning for things, the state is very far behind on what, because they haven't even received the finalized census data. So they're looking at the June, they're looking at the primary and then backwards planning from there. And they don't even know if they're going to make it in time to be able to have the primary with the redistricting, because they don't even have the census data yet. So there has to be, so even though they're having redistricting meetings, and I actually met the folks from redistricting that's assigned to our area, and we can bring them in July, and they can talk about redistricting. Even though they're having those conversations around redistricting, it's not, they're not at a place to say, this is how this population grew, or this one didn't, or this one lost. They're pretty sure California will lose at least one representative as a result of it, but nobody is for sure on that. No one's certain on that yet.
And are we the only educational group in the county that has trustee areas?
Sonora High.
Sonora High, okay.
And then we can talk about some of those ramifications of the high schools that don't have trustee areas.
Okay.
So for the longest time, there was, anytime somebody challenged a school district for not having trustee areas because of a lack of representation of people that might be in that particular district, might live in certain areas as opposed to at large, which is what all of our areas do except for Sonora High, was that it was underrepresenting certain groups of people. And so if that was ever challenged, the fact that that challenge was put out there, they lost every single court case. Every single one was lost until just recently when that was examined and it was like, no, that will not change the makeup of your board if you go from a at-large to a trustee. There is no significant change. That was the first time that has ever been challenged and it was denied. So what school districts could do is verify that they have done an analysis and determined that there wasn't a change, but they had a deadline in which to do that. And I know for certainty that none of our school districts up here that have at-large elections did that process. So it's kind of one of those wait and see kind of things, which is see if somebody challenges it that says I'm not my constituency isn't represented because it's at large, as opposed to making sure this neighborhood is represented and that neighborhood's represented in that neighborhood. We just had a request from a developer who's developing property that sits between Columbia and Sonora L School District, and the property straddles both school districts. And they were thinking that we had the authority as a county office to tell the developer which district they could be in because they don't want to be split. But that's not how that works. That's up to the two different districts, and we have lots of districts who have split developments. And usually they come to an agreement ahead of time because it makes it much more palatable to market your properties when, especially if they're large, you know, they're very large, $650 to $1 million houses, that they're in this particular district. You're not going to have people on one side of the street going to one school and these guys going to another. But that's between those two school districts and the attorney fees that go along with that. And that's why we don't.
So Apple Valley overrated.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Apple Valley sits in the Curtis Creek School District, and they have an agreement with Curtis Creek and Sonora L that if you live in Apple Valley, they will not deny an interdistrict transfer, but they will not give up that tax base, that property tax base.
Kelly, how long has it been since this board has looked at the mission statement and goals?
We looked at the goals
2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Not last one, but the one before. But that's one of the things that I suggested was the mission.
And you suggested it.
And vision.
Vision.
And adding a value statement, yeah.
Any other great ideas? These are all great ideas. Keep them coming. Anyone else? Bueller?
So if the date is the same, and we'll do an in-person hybrid, depending on what's going on in the world at the time.
Same bat time or?
Well, that's what I want to know. Do you usually make this particular meeting a one that usually starts at around 10? We have a lunch, we break for lunch, and then usually conclude by 2 o'clock or so, early afternoon.
Do we have a regular scheduled meeting at 4 that day?
No, we don't have that. We don't have that listed on the regular meeting agenda, right, Tony, as a time. It says TBD.
Correct. It's to be determined.
So we're thinking maybe 10 to 2 retreat and then 2 o'clock board meeting?
Well, your retreat would count as your board meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do we need to do anything with strength finders because we have new members on the board?
Well, that was one area. Do you want to add that?
I liked it. I liked Street Fighters.
And then I was wondering if, I know that, last time, I think, was it Bob?
Yeah.
Who came in, or if, and I'm sure we could somehow do the little chart ourselves of where people fall in, so we see where the board's strengths fall, as a board, where our strengths fall and where we might, need to.
It would be nice to have different facilitators, I think, maybe. Yeah. We can ask Bob to come in and do that.
I'll put a challenge out to the board members, come back with maybe an idea next month, if you want to add something. Okay. You know,
So we want to leave it on July
12.
12th, and we want to do that 10 to 2 with a working lunch?
Sure.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, on a YouTube long meeting. Any other comments about board retreat discussion? For that, we're moving on to information items. Number 1, Excellence in Teaching Awards update, please.
Honey, do you want to start this one?
Sure. So I have all but one name from the districts. And I think they have the person, I just don't have it. They just haven't sent it to me yet. So I'm still collecting write-ups and names. Everybody has submitted except for Gold Rush Charter. They're not recognizing anybody this year. And then Kathy and I spoke about working on a full page ad in the Union Democrat.
We'll put it on our website too.
Yeah, and so, yeah, and Brian and I are going to be working on a showcase for late May. We are requesting districts, of course, send pictures of their awardees, but also we want to have what we call kind of bumper activities, bumper music. It's like the thing you hear in a radio show, the music that brings the show in and exits the show. So performed by students or, singing, so that we can have a variety of different students kind of interject that part.
Nice.
Again, the newspaper ad. And then we want to encourage the district boards to buy the dinner for their employees. Casey and I were talking, if each of the board members that has like a 7 or 5-person board member puts in, $10, that's a lovely dinner that they can sponsor for the family.
Yeah.
To have at home and watch it at their convenience. And that's what our plan was for them. And of course, the full page ad for I didn't give you a sign, but you can be Rose. Okay, I will change it up.
It's okay, you don't have to. I can be Rose.
Mom good?
Sorry.
Thank you. That was the plan for the Teacher of Excellence.
When are we looking to publish this in the paper? What's the goal date?
We would do it by mid-May as well.
Okay.
We want to be there before the graduates ads start going out. They've started soliciting for them, but they won't start putting those out until May, late May.
You got it. Thank you, man. That's good. Any other comments for Excellence in Teaching? All right, move on to number 2. 2019-2020 audit report. Review of the 2019-2020 annual audit report provided by Tuolumne County Superintendent of Schools under Education Code 41020. Liz, how are you?
Yeah, we have Lisa Rico here, and we have Cindy, our auditor here. So I'm going to hand it over to them.
Thank you. So Cindy Carnes, our auditor, is here to present the board or the audit report for you today.
Okay, thank you for having me. Usually everybody's first pressing question is, were there any findings? So we'll talk about that first and get that over with. This year there were some payroll findings. Two of the, for the federal compliance audit, 2 of the things we have to test is payroll for special education and Title I. And one of the findings, the employee was paid the incorrect hourly rate. And the second employee actually had the same error. They're both paid the incorrect hourly rate, and they were underpaid by $200.52, and that was taken care of on the next payroll, and they repaid the employees. The second one was in the Title I program. There were also 2 employees. One was terminated and his termination benefits were not paid correctly. And the second employee, he wasn't paid his cell phone stipend. All right. And the next ones had to do with attendance. The first one talks about just this one was for annual. The wrong number, but they have a specific divisor that you have to use for each of the periods for P1, P2, and P annual. And it was modified due to the COVID changes last year, and the incorrect P annual divisor was used. So that resulted in the county receiving an additional $2,092. And then the next one was the same thing, but it was for P2, and the wrong divisor was used for that also. And that resulted in the district receiving an additional $4,500 more. All right, the next one was attendance, where a student was marked present the day before becoming enrolled, and 2 students were marked present instead of absent for the teacher register. And the district was paid too much for P2 of $375 and P annual for $563. And the next one was unduplicated pupil counts, which is where you have to, that's for your LCFF funding. And so where students were marked for your reduced, they weren't supposed to be for your reduced. And so the district was overfunded by $2,785. And those are all of the findings. So this audit is basically 3 audits in one. So we audit a number of things when we're out there. One of the first things we do is a financial audit to make sure the financial statements are correct. The second one is, and there's 2 compliance audits, and it's federal compliance and state compliance. And every year the Education Audit Appeals Panel sends out a audit guide and tells us the things we have to look at. We have to look at attendance, we have to look at LCFF, we have to look at the many different programs that the county runs. Okay, so there's where a lot of these findings come from. And because the federal compliance says we have to look at payroll and make sure that everybody is paid properly. And we also have to look at all the expenditures and make sure that all the special ed expenditures were really for special ed and those types of things. Do you have any questions on that?
So like with the overpayment, do we write a check back to the state, or is it just squared out next time?
It's squared out next time.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was kind of kidding, but yeah. I'm not gonna write him a check.
Does anyone have any other questions? Okay.
No?
Go ahead.
You're good.
Okay. Would it be possible for me to share my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So, it says the host disabled participant screen sharing. Do I just need to be more patient?
You should have it now.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Just 13 people I see.
All right. So can you see that now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So on this, I prepare graphs kind of talking about your financial statements a little bit, differences between the current year and the prior year. So that should work. Oh, what happened here? Sorry about that. There we go. Yay. Okay. So first it talks about what is an audit. We talk about that a little bit, you know, why I have to come every year. The law requires me to come and see you every year and do the state compliance audit, the financial audit, and the federal compliance audit, because for federal compliance, you have to have more than $750,000 of expenditures, which you do. So, and it's an outside independent party's opinion as to the financial statements being fairly stated in all material respects, okay? And the scope of the audit, which means what the stuff we look at, is dictated by my professional standards, government auditing standards, and the state of California Department of Education and Department of Finance. So there's lots of rules that we have to follow when we're doing the audit. So if you look at the financial statements, there's two different balance sheets and two different income statements. So you have the balance sheet, which are the fund financial statements that you approve every year that Lisa presents. And then we also do another set of financial statements, which you add all the debt and all of the fixed assets. And those are the government-wide financial statements. So do you have a copy of the audit handy? If you want to look at it, the government-wide financial statements are on page 12 and 13, and the fund financial statements are on 14 and 16. So the government-wide financial statements, it details out all of your liabilities, your capital leases payable, the net pension liability, the net other post-employment benefits liabilities, and also the deferred inflows and outflows of resources for those liabilities and fixed assets. And then in the statement of activities, that's basically the income statement, and it breaks down everything by function. So all the expenditures related to instruction are broken out together, and the expenditures related to instructional supervision and administration are broken out together, and also the income that's related to those items. All right, any questions on that? Okay, so if you look at this next graph, this is where the total pie of where your money came from for 1819 and 1920. So if you look at the federal revenue, in 2020, it increased about 3%, and that's mostly from your Title IV funding that you received. You spent a lot of that last year. The other local revenue, it went down a little bit, and that's mostly because the tuition costs decreased last year because the students weren't in session all year. They ended mid-March. Okay. Okay. So this is a chart showing the differences in your different types of revenue for the past 5 years. You've had an increase in LCFF. Your property taxes have stayed just about the same. Your federal revenue increased, that was the Title IV. Your other state revenue stayed, it increased just a little bit. That was mostly due to additional TUPE funding and some special education funding. And you can see your other local revenue decreased from the prior year, and that was back to the tuition due to the kids not going to school for COVID. Uh-oh, okay. Oh, it skipped one. Okay, so the graph up there is showing all the different expenditure accounts and how they've changed from the prior years. Your certificate and classified salaries and benefits increased because you hired a lot more employees. You had more aides, you had a new program specialist, you had the Title IV expenses, and you had additional special ed support staff. Okay. Books and supplies increased a little bit because you bought students computers to do distance learning. And the services and other, that decreased because the students weren't around to have services provided to them. So those expenditures decreased. Okay. And your capital outlay, that increased because you got a new roof and at the County Office of Ed, and you had network expenditures, a new van, and a generator. All right. Okay, so these are your expenses by function. The other charts we've looked at, we look at the expenses by certificated salaries, classified salaries, benefits, books, and supplies. And this is actually what the expenditure is for. So if it's for instruction, it goes into instruction. And that's 36% of your expenditures. Instruction related services is 21%, and pupil services is 21%. And those three bring the total to 78%. So those are all related to instruction. And the rest is general admin, plant services, and community services. All right. And the last one. Okay, and this is a 5-year expense analysis by function. Instruction stayed just about the same. The instruction related services and pupil services increased. That also had to do with hiring a number of employees. There was a special ed program specialist, all the Title IV expenditures, special ed aides, a visually impaired aide, behavioral health clinician, and behaviorist. And then the general admin, it increased a little bit because you hired a new HR business tech, and benefits and retiree benefits also increased. And all those other expenditures pretty much stayed the same. All right, do you have any questions about the audit? Anything that we've talked about? Is there anything else you'd like me to discuss? Nope.
Great, no, great charts.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Judy, Rose, any questions? No?
All right, let me.
Judy looks like she might be talking, but she's muted.
Thank you for laying it out so clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay.
Oh, I like that one too.
What
Katie.
snow? We miss snow. We need more snow.
Sorry.
We enjoyed it.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Snow is life around here.
Okay.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Is there a way we can get a copy of your PowerPoints that you put up?
Yes, I will
I
email
really like
it.
having those charts. I think that's very helpful.
Okay, I will email that to Lisa, and she can send it to you. Will that work, Lisa?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great idea, Rose. Yes.
Thank you very much for doing that.
Uh-huh. And I can't get back to, this is the first time I've ever shared my screen in a meeting. So now I'm trying to get back to unshare it, and I'm not having any luck. Oh, there we go. Yay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy, for all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Liz, any other comments around it, or? Lisa? Rico? No, you're good. All right.
Other than that, we will work on addressing all of the findings reported by Cindy just now. So we are working collectively to ensure that those findings are mitigated, and so yeah, we're working. Colleen and other departments are working collectively on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's safe to say this board has absolute trust and faith in you. So
True.
a typo is okay.
That's my first thought. Transposition.
Yeah. Any other questions for the audit report? See? No? Well, thank you,
Thanks.
everybody, on that. Number 13, comments. Board members. Start with the ladies on screen. Rose, do you have any comments?
I do want to say one thing. already commented a lot about the people that have helped out at the clinics for this COVID-19 vaccination. And when I went and got both of my shots, I was totally impressed. And I think the people in the community that have volunteered their time is amazing. Now they have been there all the time, you know, every day, and it's gone so smoothly. I was at the fairgrounds, and it was very, very well done. Very well done.
Miss Judy?
Can I just say ditto to what was just said, because I was down there actually volunteering and it really went very well. We're very fortunate in our community. And I actually I've been trying to help some people who don't have access to email get their shots. And they were just great about getting these people in and making sure they got their shots and everything. But what I wanted to say is I completed the new board training in March, and there were several, days of that. And I thought it was very well done and very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Nick, anything? Is it in general comments?
We hired a new superintendent at
Oh,
L.
oh, really?
Sarah. Her last name, I forget. I was involved in the process.
Awesome.
That's it.
Is that official now? Did they do that at a board meeting?
We've had this conversation every year.
I don't really have anything other than to say I attempted to attend the CCB training and found it was quite difficult, so I look forward to doing it in person. It was kind of very easy to let other things infringe on it and make it a second priority, which is not good. It's a flaw on my part, I'll own it. So yeah, I look forward to being back in person with our conferences. Same for me. I presented and it went okay. It went well. I was there for that one. Okay, all right. Okay, but I agree with you, it's a little hard. I actually went back because I couldn't make those times. It's like, okay, I can't block out, every Tuesday for the next 4 weeks. But I did go back and listen to the view recorded sessions, and it was actually very, very nice. I mean, you couldn't participate, and so if you had a question, it's not like you could ask. But Judy asked lots of questions. I forgot which one it was, but Judy was really participating and asking lots of questions, so that was really
So were you listening in on the new board members?
no, it was one. There was one that was together. One was at the equity, or maybe the advocacy one, or something. So but I thought, yay. So that was the only thing, not being able to do that. I have about an hour left, I think, on the equity. On the equity one. So, but I thought I was pretty interesting topics, and I had said my only thing about the advocacy one was if you've gone to Ledge Day, it's just like a little bit more information than what they give you when you're going to Ledge Day. So it's like, well, and so I suggested that they get a legislator or a staffer to be on board next time and tell us.
Yeah.
I mean, you're telling us, but I want them to tell us, how we can make a difference. So, yeah, and then I did present, and that was very interesting because there was at the last minute, a lot of changes. And so until that right before was the first time we actually went through it. And that was stressful for me because if you know me, I like to be a little bit more prepared when I go into something. And so that was a little different. I did attend Ledge Week, where we met with our Assemblyman Bigelow and our a staff person, Julie Sauls, for Senator Borges' office. I got a nice note back when I wrote a thank you to Assemblyman Bigelow's office. And, you know, I asked him what his number one educational priority was. And at the time it was to get kids back in school. That was all he was concerned about with education. And I haven't received anything yet from the second one, from the other one. So that's been a busy month. I've been, I'm meeting twice a month with representatives from other board members in our region. Had one really interesting comment by a board member, and just because I thought I don't want to get into it, I didn't comment, but he made this comment, well, I don't know why a teacher can't do virtual learning and in-person learning at the same time. And it was everything I could do. So my hands and not say anything. I think I might have even clicked off my screen. Because that's one of the things that's a very difficult to try and have 15 or 20 students in your class that you're trying to teach and yet watch, you know, another 10 virtually. So it's all about being kind and compassionate and understanding. And so we are.
Well, I just want to echo thank you for the opportunity to attend the CCBE governance training. It was really a lot of good information and some dynamic speakers, and it was really very good. Appreciate that.
That's good.
Yeah, same. I enjoyed it. I only got half of it in, so I work conflict, so I couldn't get the second part, but I'll go back with smooth.
Yeah, you can just view recorded
Administrative,
sessions. And you can actually even go, it's kind of funny, if you click on that and go back, you can actually go to like the conference and all kinds of things. So all kinds of little.
Ms. Parker.
On Saturday, I was invited to speak to the League of Women Voters. It's a new chapter up here. Well, not new. They've been around 2, maybe 3 years now. And the topic that they wanted me to address was education for homeless youth. And so they asked me to stay on longer than my presentation. So we had a nice 2-hour conversation about how they can support the efforts that are taking place in our county in order to address homelessness, because I drew the line for them of the nexus between homelessness and voting, that if you don't have a fixed address in Tuolumne County, it is a vote by mail county, and you oftentimes will not get your ballot. You will not be able to, it'll be very difficult to register. And so you're basically disenfranchising a whole group of people that are underrepresented. And so it's important to at the very least, connect them with services so that when you are talking about voter registration drives, that you're getting them connected, because they have a right to vote just like anybody else. But we were talking about services that we're going to provide through Resiliency Village. So I go with them on the 24th. We're going to go out to the new property and do a work day out there. And once that is set up, we'll be able to provide education. We'll have an education day. We haven't decided on how that will look. But we also will be going up to the El Dorado Motel, which is in the Twain Harte area. They put in some families that need some services, and they also have some vets in there that need some adult education. So we're already getting connected with them. And I'm proud to let you know that I was really happy to hear this. So when I've been part of a homeless work group, just dealing with issues about homelessness in general. And it was a pretty big work group. And then the county supervisors took it on and created the homeless task force. And when they initially did that, they did not have a place for behavioral health. They didn't have a place for law enforcement. They didn't have a place for education. And we mentioned it and said, you know, it's hard to have a task force. Well, when they went back to the Board of Supervisors and had their recommendations, they had asked me, because Kelsey Stone had applied, and I said, you can apply, but you will be taking one of the at-large positions. And so you're technically not an education representative, you're a person from your district. Mm-hmm. Well, they felt strongly enough that youth should be represented that they created a county schools position, and Kelsey Stone was appointed into that position. So we'll be able to represent homeless youth needs on that task force. Graduation will take place at transition. It will be an in-person ceremony. It will follow all the CDPH guidelines. Basically, we pod the families into little squares, and they don't have to be masked as long as they're just staying in their squares. And we'll have 3 graduates. We thought that was very important to try and do that in person. So we're going to work with the business owner to get big tents to put out between SRT and our facility, and you'll get more on that as we get closer to that date, so you can come.
When's the date?
We haven't selected a date. We have to work around, we have to make sure we're working around the high school schedule. So it's not just Sonora High, it's also Casina, because our families are often pulled in all different directions. So we can't interfere with Somerville High, Sonora High, or the Casina graduation schedules. Also, as Casey mentioned, he went to the Goldridge Educational Center for a graduation. It is a very restrictive environment, so we thank you, Colleen, and tell Mike Colleen, if she's still on here, for pulling strings and allowing us to, we had it outside. It was nice, it was hot, but it was nice. And so we were able to see the kids, but 2 of them, they're not going to have a big deal. They're just gonna have their family come in, and then that's it. We visited the jail last week. We had a tour of the jail. I had Brian and Troy and Colleen and Joanne Job come with me. We were able to see it finished. We saw the space that Joanne would be able to go into. We're going to be able to start videoing in to provide support for our students, and then eventually we're going to be able to go into the spaces, and it becomes much more obvious that, June 15th is kind of the deadline. They do a nice job of screening the residents that come into that facility. They test them. They use the same testing lab that we use. They use our Dropbox, and so they get a pretty good turnaround rate for their all of their residents. Inmates is what they call them. I call them residents. So we'll be starting that back up, at least virtually, for a while. We already served 2 students there, but in a packet kind of format. I just wanted you to know, I don't see him on here, but we did send out an official notification that Blaine Cowick, our special education SELPA director, will be retiring at the end of August next year. And we are in a final week of recruitment for a special education SELPA director. We have invited people from different areas to be on the panel from districts. So we'll have a 2-panel decision on that. And it's a very challenging position because it's a 0.3 SELPA director and 0.7 special ed director. So the 2 roles are different. It's like being a superintendent principal. It's very challenging. And I wanted to let you know that we haven't sent out the official notification, but it is official now that Martha Stoll and Joyce McMahon will be retiring at the end of this year. And we knew this was coming, and we have already hired. We had hired Kendra Eccles as a nurse, as you know, this year to help us with testing and all sorts of things. She's a full-time nurse that works with us now. So we decided to hire 2 additional nurses, and we have actually hired them. And when you see the official announcement, you'll recognize one of the names on there, and it's Abigail Smith. And she grew up.
Yes, she did. I'm like, she's not old. Yeah, I guess she is old enough.
Yeah, she gave me my shot, actually.
Oh, that's great.
So don't fret when you see that. We already, we have 3 nurses coming instead of 2, because we were always understaffed in nursing. We just think that it's important to have that physical, the physical health of people addressed, of our students and our staff, and it became very apparent we needed another nurse position. And then finally, the high school, the Adventist House has started, and you'll know this too, Cindy, the Blue Zone project. And so they had their first kind of kickoff meeting last Friday and brought in community members, and I was able to give a little 3-minute kind of how did it affect me when I was first introduced to it. And so you're going to start hearing more from Adventist Health about blue zones and how we're going to hopefully blue zone our community. It could be something we talk about and bring into our your board retreat. And I think that one of the nice things would be is to give you the blue zone project book that Cindy and I received when we sat on a committee that they had. It's a really easy read. And it's looking at the communities where they have not just the highest life expectancy, but the highest life expectancy with the best quality of life. And what are the qualities in those communities? And what can we do to bring those qualities here? And so it's not just a eat healthy kind of thing. It's a lot. And that's my report.
Thank you. All right, next meeting date and time will be regular meeting place, May 10th, 2021, 4 p.m. Is there any committee meetings that day, Tony?
There's big policy meeting.
Policy meeting?
Okay.
So policy at 3 or 3:30?
3.
3, okay. Policy committee at 3 o'clock on May 10th.
It's a very busy policy committee.
My wife's birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, trust me, more to get flat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Adjourn the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Be safe.
My apologies.
It was the